Welcome to our presentation on sugar and sweetened drinks. This presentation is part of the KidFit Nutrition Module curriculum. In this presentation, we will cover what sugars and sweeteners are, food sources of sugar, and how we can make more nutritious choices when it comes to desserts, sweets, and beverages. Sugars are a naturally occurring nutrient that is found in so many of the foods we consume each day. They are an essential nutrient for our body as we use it as our primary source of energy. Think of a car that needs gas or electricity to run. When the car runs out of fuel, it can no longer work. Sugars are the gas for our body, which we can think of as our vehicle. Foods that include natural sugars in varying amounts include fruits and vegetables, grains and starches, dairy products, and pulses such as chickpeas, beans, and lentils. Sugars can also be added to sweeten foods. These are known as added sugars. These sweeteners range from highly processed artificial substances to less processed natural substances. Let's take a better look at each of these in the coming slides. There are so many different words that can be used to describe sugar. It can be confusing, especially when you are looking at an ingredient list on a food product. These are some examples of natural sugars that you might find added to your food. You'll notice that this list contains sugars that are minimally processed, like fruit purees, as well as highly processed sugars like high fructose corn syrup. Sugars, despite the source, are used similarly by the body. Different sugars have a varying sweetness, so some may taste sweeter than others. It is important to be mindful of your intake of even natural sugars, such as honey or agave syrup. Sugars are an important part of our diet. We want to avoid having added sugars in excess and in absence of other nutrient-dense foods. Enjoying chocolate or cake when you want to is perfectly acceptable. When you are only consuming these foods without other balanced meals that include protein, grains, and fruits and vegetables, it can put us at a higher risk of overeating these foods. This is because they don't have the appropriate nutrition to make us feel full on their own. Having too much added sugar in our diet can lead to potential poor health outcomes like high triglycerides. Foods can also be sweetened with something called non-nutritive sweeteners. These ingredients taste sweet, but do not actually contain sugar and do not add significant calories or energy to our food. Some sweeteners are natural, like stevia or monk fruit, but most are artificial. Here you can see a list of some common non-nutritive sweeteners. As with anything else, non-nutritive sweeteners can be enjoyed as part of a balanced diet. Here are a few more tips on how to limit excesses of added sugar. Cook at home more often. Read food labels to help you choose foods lower in or without added sugars. Choose naturally sweet foods like fruit, unsweetened applesauce, and plain yogurt. Limit how often sweets are available in your home. Offer water for thirst with meals. Avoid adding sweeteners to water or milk. Dilute juice with water so it is less sweet. And find lower sugar snacks or desserts. One of the biggest consumptions of both added and natural sugar can come from sugar-sweetened beverages. Things like regular soda, such as Coke or Sprite, which may be more obvious, to drinks like juice. Juice was once thought of as a healthy alternative to choosing water. Today, we know that juice provides you with all the sugar you can find in fruit without the fiber. Imagine how many oranges it takes to squeeze to get 1 cup of juice. We are squeezing out all of the sugar and leaving behind the fiber, which we know helps keep us full. Try choosing beverages such as water, milk or a milk alternative, unsweetened sparkling water, infused water, herbal teas, or smoothies. If you are used to consuming sweetened beverages, start by diluting things like juice or soda. If you are introducing smoothies, make sure you are mindful of how much fruit you add, as well as choosing a liquid for blending other than juice. Blending up our food takes away part of the digestion process, and therefore it is a lot easier to drink 3 cups of fruit than if we were to eat that same amount of fruit in its whole form. As mentioned previously, it is important to enjoy foods you love without guilt or stress. Having ice cream on a hot summer day or a birthday cake at a party can encourage positive social experiences and the development of a positive relationship with all foods. We all crave sweets sometimes. If you're someone who really enjoys a sweet treat at least once a day, here are some ways to make them more nutritious. Choose fresh fruit. Fruit has natural sugar and fiber. Blend frozen banana to make ice cream. Make your own frozen yogurt. Barbecue or grill fruit. It brings out new and exciting flavors. Make fruit kebabs with a yogurt dip. Or bake your own sweet treats at home. How can you make your baked goods more nutritious? We can add more fiber. How do we do this? We can use a whole grain flour. We can add bran cereal, fresh or dried fruits. We can add ground flax or chia seeds or psyllium husks, or use whole grains like oats. Next, we can aim to get less saturated and trans fats. How do we do this? We can replace half the butter or oil with mashed fruits or vegetables. So think of something like mashed bananas. We can also use unsaturated fats such as vegetable oils. We can also try to add more protein to our baked goods. How do we do this? Find recipes that use plain yogurt, skim ricotta, or cottage cheese. You can add chopped nuts, seeds, or nut butters to your recipes as well. We can also try to get less sugar. How do we do this? You can use half the amount of sugar that the recipe calls for. Oftentimes, having the sugar doesn't change the sweetness at all. You can also use fruit purees like applesauce or banana for sweetness and fiber. One other ingredient you can try to add could be chickpeas or black beans. These can be used in things like cookies and brownies to add both protein and fiber. This concludes our presentation about sugars and sweetened drinks. For more information, tips, and recipe ideas, please see your nutrition manual.